Hey everyone, welcome to another, workshop hangout. Yeah, today's gonna be a little bit different. So I'm really excited for today. But yeah, today's gonna be a little bit different because I actually don't have a guest on with me today, and we're gonna be doing some little things. One of the things I've really been, and I've been thinking about this for a while, is a certain type of cache, and this cache is, I've been kind of excited about it because there are some channels that I do like that I've seen that. Um, of course, are not geocaching channels, but they have some really cool stuff. And one of those is called StarCraft. And I'm going to put a link in the chat, but I'm also going to put a link um, in the description later after I finish with this live stream. But I'm going to put a link in for the channel right now for the StarCraft. I don't want you to go look at it yet because, of course, I want you to stick around here. But this they have some really cool ideas. So I'm trying to take one of these ideas that they have on this channel and kind of correspond it with a different way of doing a cache. Now, this cache that I want to do, when they did it on this channel, what it is, it's a door that has some pins that drop down, and it has a magnet. So you slide this bar across, and it pulls those pins up. Well, that's really great. But as we know, if a cacher out in the field, somebody would take and slide that bar back without closing the door, those pins would all fall out. So that's the problem that I'm trying to solve, is how can I do that? And I have an idea, and I want you to help me to figure out if this is going to be a good idea or not. And then the other aspect of what I'm going to be doing here is, as well, is to we're going to go jump in, and we're actually going to I have my iPad set up right here with me, and we are going to be taking it and we're going to be doing some design work with it. So I want you to kind of give me some ideas. So give me some comments in the chat. What do you think about this? Like I said, I would love to show the channel of this and the video that I'm referring to. However, but if I showed the video, there could be a possibility of getting a copyright. So that's why I put the link in there for the channel so you can check out some of their builds. Now, he did this in wood, and I really, because of the weather and everything like that, I want to do this in PVC board. So I have my PVC board here. I have my calipers because there's going to be some measuring that we're going to be doing as we're going to be transporting it into the design program itself. So with me, we're here for a while. So just go ahead and fill in the comments in the chat. I'd love to see those comments. You're just going to hang out with me as I'm working in the shop today, working on this new design. And so there's this one. And then I have a follow-up that, as you know, I'm also on Gadget Talk, that we've been working on Gadget Talk, a sci-fi build, and I've been working on my Scream canister. Well, I'm going to do some of the painting today as well. So there's a few little things that I'm doing, getting some things prepped up, ready for this week. And that's what we're going to do. You're just going to hang out with me, just be part of it. Love to see your comments. And I'm going to ask you some questions. Looks cold in there. Actually, right now it's not, because I had my heater on earlier in here. It was 14 degrees outside this morning here in Memphis. So many people said, yeah, Dave Wagner's saying it looks cold in there. He's talking about it in my shop. Yeah, I'm in my hoodie. I'm comfortable right now. And so I turned my heater off, but I kind of knocked the chill out, and let's see here. What is it outside right now? It's 37 outside the door. Good thing is that my workshop is insulated, so once I warm it up in here, it usually stays pretty warm. So, but yeah, we're going to get into some of the designing of this today. We're going to be using my iPad, and then also I have an idea for part of this that we may even throw into Tinkercad. And I found out that Tinkercad, which is a great program that you can do designing different things for 3D printing, and they're pretty easy to use, and you can even use it for some coding to do some different things. We're going to be jumping into Tinkercad, and I found out that I have an app for it on my iPad, so it's going to be a little bit different because I've used it on the computer, so it's going to be maybe a little bit different, kind of get these numbers and everything out in Tinkercad on the iPad. So, but let's go ahead and jump into designing this cache. I'm going to take a quick drink, and then we'll get into designing this way this cache is going to drop in. Happy Wild, Bill and Jabber. Great to have you on with me today. Really do appreciate everybody that's tuning in. So let's go ahead and get this set up. So I'm gonna go ahead and kick over to, here's my graph paper that you see. And what we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna probably bring up a second shot of where you'll actually be able to see me as well. but I'm going to be drawing this out as we get going. 1 second. All right, so in this is really cool because I like being able to use this graph paper when I'm doing these designs. And I'm going to be using my stylus for my iPad. But first off, I need to do is, now remember I said I was going to be using the paper, or the PVC board is what I want to use when I'm doing this. And the reason is why I want to use the PVC board is because I know this isn't going to swell. So I have this PVC board here. And one of the things I need to do is we're going to have to really figure out the width of this, because the way the pen works, and I'm going to use this nail that I have here in my hand real quick and kind of show you. What's going to have to happen is that this pen, here you go, this pen is going to have to come up here, but I don't want it to break the surface here when it's engaged, when it's unlocked. Okay, so when there's no magnet, it's going to drop down enough that it's going to cause that door not to be able to come open. And that's what I got to figure out. But I don't want the nail to drop all the way out. So when the cashier that's out there pulls the magnet away, it's going to fall out on the ground and they have to reinstall it. So I'm trying to make this real easy so it doesn't happen that way. So that's what I'm going to try and work up. How is the easiest way to do this? I mean, I know I could drill a hole straight through big enough and then fill it somehow and maybe have this slide through. Or what if I designed a part that could into the hole that when I put it in here that I could 3D print, I can glue it in place so that it would lock the nail in. And that's kind of what I'm kind of leaning toward. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and draw this up on my graph paper real quick. So basically, I know it's going to be a door. So the easiest thing I'm going to do is just kind of come in here, and like I said, I'm just going to come across, and it's just going to lock it in place. All right, I'm just going to basically design. I'm just going to use just enough to get me started. So this is going to be, I'm designing the top of the panel first. So this is the top, so the lid of the door itself. So, and then the next part is, of course, the actual door that's going to be open. So I'm going to I'm going to leave just a little space underneath, and I'm just going to come across. It should snap. There we go. And this is where, and I'm just going to this aspect of it's not going to be exact, because right now I am more concerned with how the section up here at the top, and of course I know you can't see it where I'm pointing on here, section up here, see if I can highlight it. Do I have the section up here, how this is going to drop in down here. So this is the part that I'm concerned about, is this section up here and not really down here. So that's what I'm looking at right now. So what I need to do is figure out the width of this PVC board now. And so what I have my calipers, and this is the easiest way. So if you don't have a set of calipers, I recommend that you get them, because when you're doing these designs, and especially if you're doing 3D printing and that aspect of it, you're going to want to use some calipers. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to kind of kick over to this camera here. So I'm just going to take my calipers and as you can see, and zero it out, and just kind of make sure what this is. This is a 19.15 millimeters. So that's my width here. So I'm just going to write on here, I'm just going to write the 19.15 millimeters. Now, what I need to do is figure out, I want probably about a millimeter at the top up here. So I probably want about a millimeter right along here that will not penetrate. So I'm going to be drilling, when I actually do the drilling of this, I'm going to be drilling from on the bottom side up. So that's what I'm going to be doing here when I do the drilling. So I need to figure out maybe how deep that I need to go there. So if I take that, so maybe I just go 18 millimeters would probably be the easiest way. It's going to be my depth. So my depth is going to be 18 millimeters that I'm going to actually drill in here. So let me back that one up one more. All right, so I'm going to drill. So my door is going to open. Okay, so I'm just going to use that as a hinge for right now. So this is going to the right side over here is going to be the direction that it's going to open. So what I'm going to do is kind of look at this and come, like I said, 18 millimeters. So I'm going to have to drill a pin that's going to be 18 millimeters. That's going to come in here. Now I'm going to figure out the width. Oh, and of course, it's going to be more flush than what that is up there. That just kind of gives me an idea of what it's going to look like up here at the top. So that's going to be 18 millimeters. So I'm going to kind of draw this in here so I know as I'm writing this in here, that's going to be my depth of 18 millimeters into that hole. Now, I like the idea of using this nail. So with this nail, so what I want to do, if I'm going to use this nail, because I like the idea of it being the flat end up here. So what I need to do is actually the width of that, the width of the hole itself. I need to figure out in millimeters. It's just easier for me to work in millimeters at this point. I'll figure out the width of this up here. Once again, I'm going to use my calipers, and that'll be the width of that. So, and then the next section, so it doesn't drop out, is that we will come in. So we're going to right now we're going to figure out the width up here. Let me switch this. The width up here of the hole itself that I'll have to drill. And then we'll also have to fill in maybe what's going to stop it from coming down. All right. So now let's go ahead and kick over to this build cam here. And so I'm just going to measure the top. And I'm probably going to want to go a little bit wider than what it is, just because I want it to kind of free flow as it drops. So it's coming up to be about 17 point, actually not kind of, it's 17.02 millimeters. So if I go ahead and made that, say, 7.5 millimeters, that should cause this nail to really kind of slide really nicely inside that hole. So what I'll do is come back here. And so my width of the hole here is going to be 7.5 millimeters. So now and I hope that just kind of helps kind of see how this design would be. Now, what's going to happen when this does this, there's two of me there, is that when this drops into, so let me see if I can click over to the build cam here. So when this nail or pin that we're going to be doing, when it drops into the board here itself, this nail would actually get cut. So, but I need it to drop in there so it locks it in place, but at the same time doesn't come out of the top. So that's what I'm trying to really work out. So when you put the magnet over the top, it's going to come up, and it has to be completely cleared here, but it also has to drop. So that's not a lot of, I mean, you're only talking 18 millimeters that it's going to be dropping, but at the same time, I got to create a way so that the pin itself doesn't come all the way out, so it catches in there. And that's my dilemma, and that's what I need your help with. So I'm trying to figure out how we could do that. And that's why one aspect I was kind of thinking, well, I drilled the bigger hole in the top and maybe do like a countersink in the wood itself and have it so just the width of the nail comes out the bottom, so it won't come out that way, and then I just kind of fill in the top. I don't know if that would work because I'm using PVC board. If I was using, say, regular wood, I could probably just push the nail up there and do the filler and then pull the nail back down. I could do that. I don't know if PVC board, if there's, and this is where you can tell me in the chat, if there's something in PVC board that I could actually fill that in there, or would I just use like a wood filler or a putty just to fill that in, and then when I paint it over, you wouldn't see it. And that's where I need your help. I've had an idea, like I said, and I may try several different ways. I won't be trying them today, but I'll try several different ways to see what would really, really work. The other aspect of it, if I did just thinking this out loud, if I did the filler on the top, I would probably use the smooth on the top, because as you can see, let's see if I can see. So here, the wood, the PVC board has a like a grain side, and then the other side's a smooth side. So I think I may, if I did it on this side, I think I'd use the filler on this side. Otherwise, when I do the filler, I'd have to maybe like come in and follow the contour with something, kind of sketch it in, and be able to do it that way. So this is, like I said, this is where I'm needing some idea. Now, the other aspect of it, if I had that filler in there, like a PVC plug, and Dave likes that idea. You can use a PVC plug, is what Geocache Talk is saying. Gadget Talk. So that must be Chad. Hey, Chad, watching on here. And TriCache says the Cortex screws have plugs. This is why I was pulling my hair out trying to come up with some different ideas. Dave Wagner says PVC plug sounds like an excellent method. So that is the method I'm going to look at, because if I add the stopper, I can probably do it thin down here. Now, my only concern is with whichever way, with the plug or whatever, if it's not in there strong enough and they have a really strong earth magnet, that would pull that pin right out. I mean, that's just something, I don't know if it would happen if it wouldn't. And that's why we do beta testing and we test these things out. So if I did this, and I may go ahead and design in Tinkercad just kind of the other way, but also be prepared to do the countersink as well, because that may be another option. And I like that. And that's why I love being able to do this build like this, because this is for this week that I'm doing right now is just pound a nut on the bottom. They says, just pound a nut into the bottom of it. Yeah, another great idea. And that's why I love this, because we're kind of brainstorming of how to be able to do this build. And so today we're going to be just doing the design of this. And like I said, I've got a little bit of the design here right now of one way of doing this. So sorry. So Chad's saying I have plug cutters I should show on Gadget Talk. Yeah. So Chad, let's see those this week on Gadget Talk this Tuesday night. I know we're doing the sci-fi build, but that might be something, kind of a tool that we can share on there as well. So right now, as I kick up here, right now, so on this design here, I'm going to leave this section here, because that might be one way to do it. Now, if we did the countersink side, so I'll be coming in, it'd basically be the opposite of what I have here. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop it in. Go ahead and say 18 millimeters. So it's going to be countersinked. So I'm just going to kind of draw it in. Okay. Still probably the same width, the 7.5 width here. So this is going to be 7.5. Yeah, millimeters. It kind of looks like a millimeters. I'll understand it when I'm actually doing this. All right. And then the inside of the nail. So let's measure the inside of this nail. So if I'm using this nail, is, let me make sure that's zeroed out. It's going to be 3.5 millimeters. So the other part of it, so that's 7.5. So then we'll kind of cut back over here and, whoa, don't want to jump out to that corner. So I'm just going to kind of draw it in here and just kind of give myself an idea. That's going to be 3.5 millimeters. So that part there is going to be 3.5 millimeters. So that would be a way, and then we're going to do a plug at the top. So then we'll just say this is going to be a plug. And that would cause that to do that. Now, what we have to figure out is, so this is one, and this distance here, right here, is going to be 1 millimeter still. So 18 millimeters. So basically, if I do the math right, so if I have the plug in there, and that's going to be 1 millimeter, and that's depending if I can do the plug with the 1 millimeter on each side here. So if this is up here, it's going to be 1 millimeter, and this is 1 millimeter. So I'm already down 2 millimeters. So instead of 18 millimeters that would drop, now I'm down to, say, 17. So if I figured 17 millimeters is the length of the nail that I would have here, that's what I have to figure up that's going to drop into the the board down here now. So what I can do, wrong one. Figure out which one. There it is. Sorry, jumped into some other notes that I had in there. Let me close those out so that doesn't happen again. Okay. And okay, so now I just have those. So if I come in here and the nail's going to drop. So this top part is just going to be completely open. Okay. And this doesn't have to be exact here. Well, it will be exact, but I mean, it can be over length because it's going to, when it drops, it's just going to be in here itself. So this basically is going to be probably about, we'll just say 18 millimeters as well. So it'll just be easier because when I drill one hole, I can go ahead and keep my drill press. Because when I do this design this time, when I'm drilling in, I will be using my drill press or some other way that I'll be able to lock in to be able to get this depth, because I need this depth very precise, and I'm not going to be able to do that by hand as easy. So I'll be able to just get that dropped right in there. I'll have quite a bit of scrap that I'll be going through doing that. But I do like the idea of the plug itself. That's a really great idea. I'm gonna have to explore that some more, and I'll be doing some of that when we're not on here. So, but I think this idea, and so I have on here on my design, which you can see, this side is the design if I'm doing a like another part of it, instead of doing a plug on the top as it drill in here, countersink it basically, like I'm doing here. This side, I'll be adding maybe a 3D printed piece down here at the bottom. And that's where I'm going to be jumping into Tinkercad here in just a minute. And with Tinkercad, we're going to be trying to do this on the iPad this time. I've usually done it on the computer. So this is going to be a little bit of a learning experience to see if I can actually get these things to drop in. I did look at it. It is very similar to it, but we'll see how it actually works with using a stylus and see if it'll actually work. So bear with me as I go through this. And this is just, like I said, this is just a hangout, and I love sharing these ideas. And Dave is saying, good example of the process to problem solving ideas for a gadget. So, and that's really putting pen to paper on this one and trying to figure this out, and then just talking with different gadgeteers here, just trying to work this out. And I think that's what's really cool, because there's so many of us that build these caches, and I know I'm not recreating the wheel, but I'm doing it something different. And like I said, the channel that I got this idea from is StarCrafts, and I have a link in the chat itself for it, and I'm going to go ahead and drop it in again. I don't want to show the video itself because I don't want to have a copyright issue with this video. But there's the link that go check out after we're done here, and you'll see so many different ideas that this woodcrafter has done. And there's a like a tile lock. So it's like a tile lock that's on there that Chad and I have looked at. That'd be really cool. There's a knob that drops these pins, but I'm trying to take, instead of it being wood, and to turn this into a PVC, and also be able, so I can place this out, and so that cachers that are out there caching don't mess it up where the pins would drop, and that aspect of it. So that's the aspect that I'm trying to go through and trying to figure this out. So now what I'm going to do is the idea of making like a plug itself that I could actually 3D print and then drop it into the actual aspect of the into there. So I know my dimensions. I need those dimensions that I had in the other part of it, which I'm going to go back to that. Let me change screens. I was going ahead and switching over to Tinkercad. So I know I need the plug. It's going to be 7.5 millimeters across. So that's that aspect of it. And if I'm doing the nail, either way that I'm going to do this, I need 3.5. So the difference between 3.5 and 7.5. So I'm going to be doing, when I go into Tinkercad, which I'll go real quick. So I'm into Tinkercad now. And the easiest way to do this, and I know it's going to be 1 millimeter tall. So what I'm going to do is, let's see if I can move myself. Instead of being on this corner, since I'm going to be drawing down here, let me change that real quick. Just bear with me just for a second. So I'm going to move. Oh, I'm way over here. And I'm going to move myself up right here. All right. So now I'm over here. This way you can kind of see now that I'm going to be drawing down over in this bottom part. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just kind of see if it'll let me drag it over here. So yeah, so it lets me drag it over. And I'm just going to drop that in place. Now I'm going to turn it, see if I can move it with, okay, there we go. I'm using a combination of my fingers and the stylus itself to do this. So I know I want this to be 1 millimeter. Right now it's set up for 20. So let's see if it'll let me do it. So I'm just going to set this back. And I have a keyboard on my iPad. So let's go say just 1. Let's see if it does it eventually. Nope, it didn't do it. So let's go 1 millimeter, say okay. It doesn't like the return. Okay, so now we're at 1 millimeter. Okay. And if I'm doing this wrong, Dave, I know you're in the chat and you use Tinkercad quite a bit. Just let me know. All right, so, but I know the width, what did I say? I needed 7.5. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and change these as well. If it'll let me, there we go. We want this to be 7.5. Now, when it comes in here in a second, it's going to be like an oval because I need to change the top as well. If it'll let me, there we go, 7.5. All right, so now I have a nice circle here. And let's see if it'll let me. Nope, I don't want to. I accidentally tapped one of the things. And it's running really slow on the iPad. I don't know if it's because it's trying to connect internet-wise or what's going on. And this is why I kind of like doing this on my computer itself versus trying to do it on the iPad. And like I said, this is the first time I've trying it on the iPad. So let's see if I can click on top view, front view. Let's see if it'll let me. Okay. I don't want front view. Okay. Let's see if it'll let me come up. Trying to see if it does hand gestures, and it's not let me do some of the gestures as I'm doing this. Yeah, I think so. It's an iPad thing. Yeah, I agree, Dave. On this one, let me take a drink. Sorry. All right, so yeah. So Dave's saying I can click on the dimensions, and it should change it, and that's what I was trying to do. But now I've locked myself out of doing. It's not letting me kind of move around, and that, like I said, I've done this on the computer, and this time I'm doing it on the iPad because it would be really hard for me to share the multiple screens on it at this time, and I don't have it loaded up on my iPad here, or sorry, not my iPad, my other computer, and we could try it that way, but I wanted to kind of use the iPad on this because not everybody. It's just another option that we can do. So, but it is a little frustrating because I'm trying to get this to do this. So what I may do, see if I can change. I may just try and bring this in. Oh, here we go. It's let me move around. Back. Sorry, as I'm trying to deal with this. Okay, so I think I got it back to an oval again. See what my dimensions are. Yep, that one changed. Yeah, as I'm struggling through this, guys, I'm sorry. But this is part of the design process as well. Sometimes learning new programs. So, why did it go back to 20? So frustrating. All right, so we'll say okay. Now the other thing on Tinkercad, now you see there's two different aspects over here on the right side, and I can't do the point itself, but you see kind of the ones that have like the hash mark, and I'll star this one. So this one is kind of a clear hole. So that's the next part that I'm going to do is actually make a hole. If it will let me bring it in. Oop. And bring it down. I need to be able to see it from the top. All right, so this is. I wish I could restart. Let me see if I can restart all this. See if it'll let me. And I know that's kind of frustrating. Uh, love learning Tinkercad from Ryan. Yeah, I know. Have Ryan? Have you done this on your iPad or on a tablet? Let me know. Do the width first and then the height is what Chad's saying from Gadget Talk. Um, and yeah, he's never tried it on the iPad. So I didn't realize until today, and that's how new this is. I was like, man, I want to use Tinkercad to kind of show this, but I had never didn't even realize they had it on the app. Yeah, no, all on the computer. Yeah, and I think that's going to be the easiest bet. In fact, as we're talking, I'm gonna see if I can go ahead and see if I can pull up Tinkercad on the computer real quick. I may have to um, get some stuff set up, and I may just go ahead and change up the way we're doing this. So let me log in real quick into Tinkercad on the computer, and that may make it a lot easier for me to be able to do this, because I was trying to do it. Like I said, I was trying to do it on the iPad, and that's just not really working for me. So let me get in here real quick, and then I'll share my screen once we start this, and it should automatically have saved. So yep, it's coming in. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to go ahead and switch up, and we're going to do this on the iPad. It's on my computer, because that's going to be, I think, a lot easier. So let me see here. Let's get in here. Well, let me reopen it. Okay, I want to tinker this. Okay, there we go. All right, so let me share my screen. Now we're switching over to the computer, and this may work a lot better. Okay, so now we're in here in Tinkercad on the computer itself, and I'll try to do this as best as I can so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna have to adjust some screens here for a second. Okay, so that way you can see me, and we can have a 2-box, or I can just go full screen. So let me go ahead and go full screen for right now. And thanks for bearing with me as we go through this itself, because this is part of the design process. I was hoping to be able to use the iPad, but it is just not working, and I can use a mouse all day long. So, all right, so there we go. There's where I wanted to come up here. Now I can come in here now and drag this big hole here. All right, so I'm not too worried about the height of it. But what I am worried about, because I want it to come straight down the middle, and there's probably a good way of doing this besides just bringing it over this way. Now, remember what my depth that I wanted to have on my other was, the hole itself is going to be 3.5 millimeters. So I'm going to change this to 3.5. Oh, that's that position. Okay. I've used Tinkercad. Honestly, I have. It's just been a little bit since I've used it. Here we go. These are the dimensions I need right here. So I need this at 3.5. And then I'm going to change this one to 3.5. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and change the height real quick. And I'm just going to change that to, say that was 1 millimeter. Let's just change it to 5 millimeters for now. That way I can kind of see it, what's going on, a little bit easier. All right, so now I'm just going to bring this over, and I want this in the center. And as if let me know in the chat if there's a real easy way to drop that in the center. And that actually looks pretty good. That's in the center itself. And then the way I can make this donut, and that's really what this is, it's a donut, is that I come up here to this, up here, and it says group. And I'm just going to group that together. And there you go. There's a simple little donut. It's going to be 1 millimeter. This will probably take all of maybe a minute to 2 minutes to print. It should not take very long to print. So I can probably find out really quickly if this is going to work or not when I get to the actual build itself. So that's a real simple way to be able to use Tinkercad really quickly to be able to maybe build a part that you want to use for this. But I also like the idea of the plug idea. That actually really does intrigue me, and I'll probably talk to Chad and Dave and even Chad Tricashis later on today or later this weekend, and get some more ideas on that. So, but that is really, really, really good. I love that, and I love the idea. Um, Highlight the parts, then alignment tool. Okay, so they're giving me hints on in there because I've kind of fumbled around with different things, but DJW House and Tricassius and Ryan have used Tinkercad a lot more than I have. And that's why I just wanted to use it for a simple part for this. Basically, I'm making a washer. That's all I'm making. And that might be another aspect that we could do this and then just seal it in there. So Dave says in here on there, select both objects, the line with 2 blocks by it, just to the right of the ungroup tool. Nice demo of Tinkercad. So thanks, Dave. Just kind of a simple way of using Tinkercad. There's a lot of different things that we can do in Tinkercad that I really want to dive more and more into, just because there's so much that you can do. There's some aspects of it that with the kids that I work with Lego, we're doing word block coding as they're going through and doing their code for their robot. Well, I want them to get into Python and some other aspects of some coding as well, and they can do the word blocks, and then it can actually translate itself into the other code as well. So they can kind of look at it side by side and understand what it's doing. So that's really great. Wild Bills, Dave was trying to type the same thing, and he said Dave types faster than me. So I was just trying to figure out what was going on. Right, Cassius. So I really do appreciate that. So this week on Behind the Cache, I'm going to go in and start putting some of the holes, and we're going to start testing some of this, because back here up here, I'll build a basic frame of a door, and we'll go ahead and see if we can go ahead and see if I can get that to start dropping and see if that'll work. I got some just regular hinges. I don't know if I'll use hidden hinges or what I'll use, but I'll build a basic frame this week and see if we can actually start getting this to this door to work, and see how that works. So Tricash, I'm reading the chat over here. Tricash says there's a washer block you can pick up instead of a solid. So yeah, so maybe, there's, like I said, there's so many different options, and there's so many different skill levels that we have, and tools and different aspects of it. So there's so many different ways that we could do this. And I think that's really cool, because what works for me may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for me, or vice versa, or however all that goes. So that's just a very simple, cool, and fun way to be able to do this. Now that I got Chad on here as well, and we've been working on Gadget Talk, and I'm gonna kind of turn my screen a little bit here. See, Dave, there's my heater. It's not on right now, but that's what I have had in here to kind of keep me a little bit warmer. But what I have right now, and I'm gonna kick over to my build cam, and I'm gonna take a drink, is I have got the painting done of my pieces. Now, if you remember seeing on Gadget Talk this last week, these were black. This was black. This was black. And then this one, as you can see, it's red on the inside and blue here. And now I've used it's a gloss gray paint. And this is going to be the inside of it. But now I got to start going through and figure out how I'm going to weather it. And I see some rough parts, which that makes it really easy to weather. Really makes for me to be able to do. But I want to go ahead and start, before I get to the big piece, these two pieces here, because as I was looking at this, I really thought a really great way, and I'm going to go ahead and see if I can kick a really fun way to be able to do this is how I think it would actually click into the component itself. So when I'm looking at this, I definitely think these areas up here are going to get worn. Trying to see if I can talk. Worn quite a bit. So I'm definitely going to put some of this latex up here, and what I'm using is just some gum latex or gum paint, and I'm just going to kind of put it all into that area. So when I come back and paint this later today, I think that's one of the areas that's going to get worn. It's going to get worn through here as people are picking it up. And remember, when you're doing your weathering, and this is kind of going back onto Gadget Talk as well, is you're doing the wear and tear on where you think it's going to get worn. And so that's all I'm doing through is just taking this latex paint. It's not paint, this gum paste, and just make sure it's yeah, I did that way down there. I felt like it was kind of really thin, and I'm just going to kind of do different places that it's going to get kind of worn. I may even do some like little marks in there. Maybe got up here at the top. Maybe just kind of a little bit different places. And this is all I'm going to do is just going to come through here and do this. Now I'm not going to show you my actual color till Tuesday on Gadget Talk how this is going to really look, because I want some mystery to it for you all. Okay, so that's just it. I want some mystery, but I'm going to come through here and kind of wear this a little bit and just kind of maybe put some different marks, different places. How this is going to look. I'm really excited for seeing everybody's builds this week. I really am, because I think that's going to be a lot of fun to see all these different the builds, because I've seen some of what some people are working on and some others, and I think it's just going to be a lot of fun. You don't want to miss that. That's just Tuesday night at 8 Central. And so sorry, I'm just reading the chat at the same time. 8 Central, Tuesday night on the Geocache Talk Network. So you can go check that out, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it, to seeing everybody. And thanks for joining me today. And I also really do hope you can join us on Tuesday night, so you'll get to see a kind of a follow-up of this as well. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to all that. So now this piece, I've got kind of different places where I want it weathered, and I may add some more later on as well, but I'm gonna go ahead and let those places dry on that one. And on this piece, because these divots up here, I really think that right there is where something's going to clamp into. Something's going to grab it. So I think there's going to be quite a bit of wear and tear on that. So I'm just going to go ahead and almost take all that and just kind of fill it almost completely. To me, this is what it just says to me. I think that's where it's going to be, where it's going to happen. So I'm just going to kind of maybe it comes across the top a little bit. And as Chad kept saying the other night, I'm not an artist. Well, I'm not either. So, but not this type of it. So I'm not a paintbrush artist. We'll put it that way. But so just kind of wear and tear, maybe right around the edges. There's the kind of a rough part in here. So I'm going to add a little bit in there. There's like another edge that's kind of come through. So there's just different places that I'm going to come in. Maybe I didn't sand well, or just some of the print kind of has a little bit of a rough edge. So that's just going to make it look kind of a cool wear effect as I just come in and just, I mean, if I can't fix it, why not highlight it, right? So, so yeah, I'm just going to come in through, and maybe there's different places that maybe the machine hits it when it comes in. So just different wear and tear places on it. And I just think this is going to look really cool once this all dries and I get it painted, hopefully later today. And you'll get to see this on Tuesday on Gadget Talk. So that I don't want to do a lot. I just want to do a little bit, and then just a couple different places that it will go in there. Now, what we were talking about the other day on Gadget Talk, remember that when you're doing your wear, it's what we're doing with the gum paste is that we're actually painting it to cover it up. So when you actually, sorry, didn't mean to cough in your ear. Can't get to the mute button fast enough. What you're doing is that you're just putting a barrier in there. So where it's, so when you come back and paint, that you'll just be able to peel that latex right off. So it's just kind of adding just a little bit of it in different places. And I think this right where the meter is going to go will look really cool with some of that on there. And then just kind of highlight some different places. And once I paint this and once this is dry, then that'll actually come up really nicely. I'm just going to add some little scratches here and there. Oops, there's a nice little highlight. So that one's got dinged up right there. So I'm just going to kind of ding it even more. And this is just a real simple way of doing this type of wear tear. Now, if you're a really good artist and you can do airbrushing, have at it. Go do airbrushing. I wish I had an airbrush. I used to have one, but I don't have one anymore. And I would go back. I could go back and kind of dirty this up. Yeah, I was borrowing an airbrush when I did my AT-AT or my AT-AT, however you want to say it, AT-AT, AT-AT. So, but yeah, I'm just going to add some different little dings throughout this whole thing. I can tell you this, the paint that I'm going to be putting on the outside of this looks really, really cool. I'm really excited to use it. I'm actually going to be using a type of automotive paint, and I can go into more detail of it later on Gadget Talk itself this week. I'm just going to highlight a couple more places, and I'm not going to do a lot. I'm just going to kind of where I think the wear would be. And it's usually on these corners and these edges is where, if you've ever noticed where things going to chip, it's what's going to be, I think it's going to be on those edges. So just kind of do that. And maybe a couple more scratches here and there. All right, so that is pretty much all the wear and tear that I'm going to be going into on this one right now. And let me go ahead and all right, so just some really simple workshop stuff today. I know it's been a little bit different. I don't have a guest today, which is fine. Everybody's out either caching, they got family stuff going on, and that's fine, and that's great. It's cold here. It really is. I don't like caching when it's this cold. I did happen to go out and get some caches this week and just kind of got out and just kind of cleared my mind with some stuff, had some stuff going on that I needed to get out there and do. So Ryan is saying, going to Home Depot, you need to you need me to pick you up anything. Oh yeah, you can always pick me up something at Home Depot, Lowe's, any of those box stores. There's always stuff I could always get. Always looking for new things. But hey, everybody, thanks for joining me. I know today's sketch gonna be a lot shorter than what my other ones have been, but that's just, I got things done a lot faster than I thought I would, and I'm looking forward to this week getting back in here on Tuesday that's when I actually do my builds for my videos on that you see on Thursdays. I do them usually on Tuesdays. I'm actually really looking forward to getting in here and trying out some different ideas. I'll probably use this piece as my scrap and do it both ways, is the countersink, and then also go ahead and take that part that I just made and 3D print it and see if I can make it fit in here to do that. Oh, congratulations. Bell on the Move is saying, had a new gadget cache go live today. That is awesome. Dude, I would love to come out and do your trail, do your Indiana Jones caches. I'd love to see those, the different ones that you've had on, or the last one that you had on Gadget Talk. That one looks really cool. Would love to come out and do that one. And I don't know. There's so many different gadgets that I want to go out and get, and that's really cool. Congratulations. I'm glad that you got that. So, but today I want to thank you for joining me. I'm just looking back through the comments, see if there's anything else. If you have a question, if there's something that you want us to build, either want me to kind of tackle here on Behind the Cache, or if you want something that you're thinking of something that maybe Chad and I could take care of on Gadget Talk, either one. I'm kind of going to, with mine and Gadget Talk, since we're doing Gadget Talk now, so many different shows, there may be some crossovers here and there. Teresa Rogers is asking, what's the 3D printer that I have? I have the Ender 3 V2, and that one I really do like. And I just did an upgrade, and I think the upgrade that I did this week has helped me tremendously, because I was having some issues when I was printing this top. It kept getting really separated. Oh, as I'm touching, I accidentally touched some of the latex. It started really getting separated and causing some really bad lines in here, and the layers were just horrible. I emptied out my trash can from them, but it didn't even look like a 3D print. It looked like it was just like layers of loose layers. But what I ended up getting is, I was wondering if my level was off. My level was not off. I had trammed it, leveled it so many different times that I knew that wasn't it. But when I was listening to it, as I was watching as it print, I kept hearing the extruder slip and it would slide it back. So what it was doing wasn't pushing that filament that's in there all the way through at one time. So I already had upgraded my extruder once, and it was only like $15 to upgrade it to what I had to a full metal, all metal extruder, because enders usually come with a plastic extruder and those will break. What I end up doing is going in and looking at a different extruder. And what I ended up getting, and it was only another $15, was an all metal dual extruder. That has made the world. In fact, let me see. After I got the extruder, I went back and because I have the other pieces here of the 3D print. Let me see if I can get it to focus. It may be hard to see, but my layers on this started really coming out really nice. And I'm using a transparent filament, and this is what's going to go on the inside of the meters for this. So that's just kind of a transparent filament. I'm looking across. Has also made some this week. I printed up some different sanding blocks that we talked about on Gadget Talk as well this week to get ready for some of the sanding on this. So just different things. But that dual extruder, all metal dual extruder, has made the world on this print. It's actually done that, and then also changed the other thing I did. I changed the slicer that I was using. I had been using Cura, which I used Cura for over a year, and I really did like it. And I was having a hard time. Sorry if you're hearing the dogs. I think Curtis has some friends coming over. I'd been using the Cura for quite a while, and I really do like Cura. But I was talking to Dave and Chad and Ryan, and they're all using the Prusa slicer. As I kept asking, well, how long is it taking you to print this? Because it took me 46 hours to print this piece, and it was taking them 18 to 22. And I'm like, good grief, what are your settings? And I was going back and forth with the settings, and the settings were pretty much the same, except the slicer. So I changed slicers, and all my prints have been coming off a lot nicer and a lot faster. And so I now recommend the Prusa slicer as well. So the two big changes I did on my 3D printing this last couple weeks is I got that dual end extruder. And the other thing is I also upgraded my hot end back to what I really like my hot end, which is a Micro Swiss hot end. So I did that as well. But I already had that in there because I think the other one was having some issues. So I just went ahead and did that upgrade as well. So I changed my hot end and my extruder, and then I changed my slicer. And so far, I am a lot happier with it, especially with the slicer, because now when I slice it and it's already ready to be sent to the printer, because I use Octoprint, I can hit a button and it automatically uploads and starts the print all at one time. So it actually takes a step out of that. Dave Wagner says Prusa slicer just keeps getting better and better. Just did another update with some new features. Great. Now I get to go and learn that one too. One of the things I want to do, and I want to dive in with Dave on this or Chad, is I have a project that I need to do a color change on something for one of the kids that I'm making for our Lego kids. I'm doing a medal for an award, and I want it to be in dual color. So I'll have to go in and figure out how to do the color change on there. I know I knew how to do it on the Cura. Now I need to try and figure out how to do it on the Prusa. So that's just some updates of what's been going on. This is already, I'm going to kick over here real quick. This is already drying quite well. And so when I come back in, there's that piece is a little wet. But when I come back in and here in probably about an hour or so, I'll go ahead and get ready to start painting these. And then I am really looking forward to seeing how this turns out. So, but, Chad says it's easy. So, all right. And that's talking about how to do the color change. I know it is. I think I've seen how you can do it on there pretty easily. So I am looking forward to doing that. But, well, everybody, I want to thank you for joining me today. And this week on Behind the Cache, I'm going to be diving back into the project and putting the pins in for this door. And I will be dropping in the in the description down below, and I did put it in the chat, is the link to that page where I kind of got this idea from, and that is StarCraft. And it's a really cool channel. There's a lot of really cool techniques that he does on there, doing some woodworking. So I want you to check that out. It's really a lot of fun. You might get some ideas and maybe some more ideas that I may do on here as well. But translating them from wood, instead of it being in the house, to making it into PVC board and taking it out into the wild. So I really do appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and hope to see you Tuesday night on Gadget Talk, and you'll get to see the painted version of what this is going to look like. I may not have everything put all together yet. I may not have, because there's still stuff I need to do, because I want to do some electronics in this too, and I got to work some of those issues out still. But you'll be able to see at least the shell of it. So I'm really looking forward to it. So don't forget to join Chad and I this Tuesday night on Gadget Talk, 8 o'clock Central, and on the Geocache Talk Network. Check it out. We're going to be having is the viewer sci-fi build show. So we're going to have viewers that have built some different sci-fi caches this last month on there. So come out and check that out. Really do look forward to seeing everybody then. And thank you for joining me. Smash that like button. Give me a thumbs up. However you want to do it. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. I really do love it. And we'll be doing another one of these live workshops next month. And if you want to be a guest on there, hey, drop me an email at derek@behindthecache.com. I don't even know if I have that actually in here as a banner. I may. Yeah, I do. You can just send me an email at derek@behindthecache.com and drop it on there. Or you can also tag me on Instagram at Behind the Cache. It's not even at Derek. It's just at Behind the Cache. Sorry, I had a .com on the end of it. So you can just drop me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all those. You can find everything at Behind the Cache on there. So all you have to do is type in Behind the Cache. So check that out, or just send me an email. But I do appreciate everybody for joining me today on here, and I look forward to seeing everybody on Tuesday on Gadget Talk, and then we'll be back live next month. About the third Saturday a month is when I'm trying to do these. So the third Saturday of next month, we'll be back here live in the workshop for a live workshop hangout. And if you want to be a guest, just send me an email. But hey, I look forward to seeing everybody next time, and hope you guys have a great rest of the week when you're checking this out. See you later.